Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. My name's Martyn Warwick and I am talking with Tim Krause, who is the new, 6 weeks into the job, CMO with Alcatel-Lucent. Tim, you're very welcome. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having me, Martyn.
Alcatel-Lucent has a new plan. You're the new CMO. What's your part in that plan?
Well, Martyn, we're coming out of a lot of adversity financially that everyone knows about, but we're well into that plan, and I think Michelle Combe has done an extremely good job in the first 6 to 9 months of getting the company pointed in the right direction financially. So it's now really time for us to get busy with innovation. So my job in the early going is to start the business of refreshing the brand from where it has been most recently and getting the company going in some key areas like the network function virtualization that's such the buzz at this particular show, but also getting us moving into some new markets.
I don't want to hark back to the past unnecessarily, but it informs where you are at the moment. Alcatel-Lucent had a bad time in every way possible,
Right.
More or less. How far, again, back to the new plan, how far along with that are you? I've heard that you're returning towards profitability.
Well, what's changing is, I would say Michelle would say we're, the first phase through the shift plan. We're by no means finished with it, but the balance sheet is looking much better than in the past. And I think the path that we're on now is not so much a pure telecoms play, but we're focused on some specific technologies, IP, cloud, ultra broadband. That is where we are at our very best in the marketplace. So we're getting rid of sort of a lot of the areas that we had been spending money on that were less important to that type of a strategy. The second part of it is we've been very exposed in the service provider space, which many people would say that's a great thing because we are good partners with the top 20 or 25 service providers around the world. But there's a lot of market out there that isn't the service providers. And we will be diversifying our revenue streams a bit as we attack some of these segments.
How does that fit with the fact that the enterprise division of Alcatel-Lucent no longer exists?
Well, it exists,
just you can't see it.
Not with us. And so we need it to exist because we still have a transaction to complete there.
Sure.
But that business was very focused on the small, medium, even a large enterprise, but really around enterprise class applications, products, switches, routers, PBXs, and so on. Our enterprise focus is a bit different than that. We're going to continue to focus on enterprises, but they will be these very large enterprises. Our portfolio that we will use to address those markets will be our carrier grade IP routing optical portfolio and some of our new products that are more software based like the Nuage networks, SDN controller, or our virtual IMS platform that we're launching here at the show.
Themes over the past few years at the show and around the industry in general have been transformation, cloud all IP networks and everything that follows on from that. You mentioned SDNNFB, which were the acronyms of last year and into this year. An enormous amount of hype was built up around that from about October 2012 through to about October last year. And then we started to see some concrete results from that, particularly in the edge of the network. Are you going to be active there?
Definitely we will be active there. In fact, there's a lot of concrete activity now. I would agree it has been in a hype phase, and to a certain extent there are still large components where there's a lot of discussion about everything is going to the cloud. Well, everything is not going to the cloud. You still have to have a network, but really the cloud and the network are two sides of a coin to deliver a new kind of service. So I think that we're working with something like 20 operators around the world now in various stages of prototyping with applications like IMS, with the Evolve Packet Core, a number of spaces. Even we've been talking and doing some prototyping in a virtual RAN, which may seem strange, which is way out at the edge. How do you virtualize a radio? And certain components of it you absolutely can do so and bring back to a central cloud kind of a location for control and various other elements of the software side of a radio network. That's what we're really trying to get at when we say something like where mobile meets the cloud.
What do you think are the biggest challenges to the CSPs at the moment?
They are, they're under attack from every possible direction, I would say. And one of the reasons they're so interested in this kind of an architectural shift is it's really a powerful tool to, on the one hand, remake themselves into companies who are more application, software services driven companies, less dependent on building a new network to make a new service, makes them a bit more nimble, more competitive. But also they want to carry the services of these application service providers, and it makes their network much more efficient. So they're really going after, with a strategy like this, they're going after on the one side scale so that they can do that at a reasonable cost profile. On the other hand, they also want to get into the business. So this allows them to sort of jump into a new level. So they face all kinds of adversity in that, given that many of them highly regulated and they cannot move as fast or as easily. As soon as they can see some relief from a lot of the regulatory bodies, I think they will start to move very fast and invest.
We mentioned the cloud, we mentioned transformation, we mentioned the new networks and so on. In this transformation, in this move over to whatever the new network is going to be when it's actually finished, what do you think are the basic building blocks of that? Where are the CSPs going first?
As they build the new network? Well, they're going wherever it's easiest first. They're not going to do a wholesale change out of their networks. It's not by chance that we've launched a couple of key products in our portfolio that are first to be virtualized, and the common theme is it's really relating to the service that is being delivered. So the IMS infrastructure that a lot of these guys are building, that's being virtualized because it makes a lot of sense to take that kind of an architecture to the cloud. The EPC, which is a fundamental part of the mobile network, is an easy place to start. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a pragmatic place to start. Obviously, when you go further down in the network, it's going to take some more thinking. When you're talking about a core router or a piece of optical gear, it's hard to virtualize a photon. But the control mechanisms around those products will begin to be virtualized. It's going to be a long path.
A final question to you in this interview, Tim, if I might. John Chambers said here yesterday that the industry should expect consolidation in the vendor sector starting more or less immediately. Do you agree with that? And is Alcatel-Lucent particularly vulnerable, do you think?
I agree that there still is consolidation to be done in the industry. I wouldn't say that Alcatel-Lucent is particularly vulnerable, but it's definitely active in looking at what might be out there that we should add to our portfolio as we focus in on certain areas. The industry, it's an interesting thing to say because I think the industry is always in a state of consolidation of some sort. We spend a lot of energy not only doing organic research through our Bell Labs entity, but we track portfolios of small and even larger companies out there who may or may not be a fit for what we're trying to do. It's the way John Chambers has done his business for decades, and I don't see that changing too much.
We do live in interesting times, you particularly.
Yes.
Best of luck in the new job.
Thank you very much.
Tim Krause, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.